Hey, bud. How's it going? Man, these lens flares. Oh, well. Everyone can deal with it. But I was just checking in on you there, aka Tyler Durden. And that's a super cringy name. We get it. You're edgy like Fight Club. But many videos you love to come in and comment about how wrong I am. You commented about how wrong I was on Ukraine's ability to defend Kiev. You said I was wrong when I'd said that the Ukrainians would retake Kharkiv and drive them Russians out. Same with Izium. In fact, the only prediction that I've made that hasn't come true is Lysachansk Severodonetsk. And you keep throwing that in my face. I know that, but I'm patient, and I'll make another video. But the most recent one was this comment you made about Kherson, saying it was a trap. Well, here we are. Kherson liberated, Ukrainians putting flags on buildings in the city, Russia crossing back over the river. Not a single trap was sprung. But the larger content of this video has nothing to do with that. Just wanted to be shitty about it because sometimes my shitty side comes out. The larger thought process here that I had, and this occurred to me, was when some people were saying this could be a trap Russia set for Ukraine to draw them in. Did it ever occur to anyone that this potentially was the final step to a Ukrainian trap that they sprung months ago? So, for 4 months now, the Ukrainians have been saying, we're going to go into Kherson. We're going to go take Kherson. They've been slowly building up outside of there. And I fully believe that they would have eventually. But I think their grand strategy was not to have to do that. Their plan B was to go in and fight for Kherson. Their plan A was never that. What I think their plan A was is what has happened. In that plan A was build up near Kherson, use that to relieve pressure off Kharkiv, to allow the Ukrainian forces to take back Kharkiv, take back Izum, and then set the conditions for a potential future push into Lysychansk and Severodonetsk. Well, the Russians said, well, we lost all that territory, but there's still a buildup of troops near Kherson. That's clearly their next objective. So we need to send all our troops, all our best troops, everything we got that's really strong to defend Kherson, which is what the Russians did, relying on Wagner private military contractors, PMCs, to try to take Bakhmut and defend Lysychansk, Severodonetsk, etc. Well, the Ukrainians continued to build up and only conducted limited skirmishes, probing attacks to kind of keep the Russians interested in the Kherson Oblast, saying that that's going to happen. But while the Ukrainians have drawn the entirety of the mass of Russian forces near the Kherson region, something like 30 to 40,000 troops were stationed there, instead of attacking, they just started smoking Russian supply lines, hitting bridges, destroying convoys, using precision strikes on command centers, destroying any means of resupply, refit, maintenance for the Russians near Kherson. So it makes me start to think, if you take out the means to support an army, you've essentially defeated that army without pulling a trigger. The Ukrainians drew a massive force requiring a massive logistics requirement to a front line that never turned into a massive battlefield, but instead turned into a sit and wait and waste resources game. And when those resources ran out, culminating with the Kerch Bridge getting hit, meaning that rail lines into that region were essentially non-existent, so everything had to be trucked in. It was just a matter of time before you can't truck in that many supplies using the Russian system of logistics. They just didn't have it. Compound that with the Ukrainians constantly hitting those supply lines. And again, it was just a matter of time before maintaining those troops was unsustainable. And that is what Surovikin and Shoigu said, that they just logistically can't sustain them. So the Ukrainians just kind of hung out and played cards until the Russians had to leave. And then they left, and the Ukrainians strolled right in and took Kherson. Now, granted, there's going to be a massive demining effort and have to do investigations and war crimes and things of that nature. But I don't think anyone other than maybe some of the top levels of the Western military organizations as well as Ukraine knew that this was the plan all along. That plan A was to draw the Russian forces in mass to try and defend a fight that wasn't never really going to happen until maybe later on, but instead attrit their ability to stay there and then make it so that it was tactically unsound and strategically unsound to keep that massive forces on the front line in preparation for a Ukrainian invasion that just didn't happen. And that's what you call trapping the Russians. So we thought Russia was setting the trap. Looks like they were the target.